Politics of the moment, Leader Jeffries. When it comes to Democratic Party voters, they are frustrated. They want you all to have backbone. They want you to have a spine. CBS News polling shows 66% of them are frustrated by the way their party has handled the administration thus far. 50+% say it makes them feel nervous. 86% say their party should be doing more to oppose the president. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement of the Democratic leadership, which includes you. So how do you respond to all of that?
Well, one, people in this country are understandably frustrated because this is all unprecedented, this daily outrage, the flooding the zone, the parade of horribles that Donald Trump and his minions in Congress have unleashed on the American people. This is unprecedented. And it is, of course, unsettling because it's all un-American. And I think what we'll continue to do as Democrats is to show up and stand up and speak up.
Meanwhile,
you could have stopped them!
How did you know this was happening?
Reddit.
Boy. So we got to talk about.
Please tell me, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, what is so unprecedented? What you're seeing is so unprecedented. Was it that it's unprecedented that the millions of undocumented migrants that you guys said you processed into the country are now being processed out because you guys got all these people into this country so you can stay in power? You've kicked the black people to the side because they obviously seen you have nothing to offer them but white man bad, white man racist. So you're doing nothing for them for the past 40, 50, 60 years in their communities. And now they're catching on. And you're like, oh, we need a new voting block. So you rush all these illegals in. Yes, it's reported. You gave them housing, you gave them visas to work, and you've sent them social security numbers so they can vote. Why are you fighting so hard to have against voter ID, claiming it's racist? We know why you don't want voters to have to show ID at the ballot box. All right? But what's unprecedented is that the Democrats' plan is foiled. They had a crippling way to go about keeping power. And they didn't even need an act of Congress or majority. They just maneuvered the system very, very methodically and bendingly. And this is what they've done, you know. They make it a us against them, therefore you should vote for us. And people who are stuck as, oh, we just need to vote for them. They look like us, or vote for them because they told us those are the bad guys and they look different from us. So yeah, they're for us. They're not doing nothing for you. They'll never do nothing for you other than fill that little void in your heart of hatred and of deceit and in division. They'll fill that void if that's what you have. But if you're really here in America to work and work your way up, well, guess what? These migrants aren't going to work at the damn picking strawberries forever. They're in roofing job. They're in constructions. And if you've been here 2-3 years, guess what? You're in management role. That's your job they taking, buddy. People are so stupid when it comes to these issues. Let's get back to the video. Hey, if you're new to the channel, please give me a subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000. But we're going to do it. Stay on the grind. Back to the video.
That's who they are.
Did you see this cowardly douchebag crying?
I'm going to answer the math question. So,
No, not the mask, the mask. So a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorist?
That's right, you cowardly crying little bitch. If you go after people's families, people are gonna go after your agents' families. That's what happens when you act like the Gestapo and kidnap people without warrants and refuse to identify yourselves. These agents are funded with our taxes. We do have a right to know who they are. You can't dox somebody whose fucking identification is supposed to be public in the first place. But yeah, more examples of FAFO. Fuck around and find out. You go after people's families, people are coming after yours.
They're currently in tears. I mean, they're breaking down and crying over the fact that the mass deportations are happening. Like, for example, the LA ICE raid that we talked about yesterday, which you had a bunch of woke rioters and domestic terrorists committing acts of violence because ICE was doing their job.
This guy getting up here saying, did you see this cowardly politician? And, you know, he's talking about how the ICE raids, they shouldn't be masked. They should be identified. They're identified badge numbers, everything. They check into law enforcement before they do their job. They cooperate with law enforcement. But what they don't do is tell these protesters who are half illegally here in the country, oh, hey, we're coming to arrest you. They don't do that. And I love the way they're gang busting their ass and get them the hell out of here. Straight up. They're not Americans. They don't want to come here and speak English. They do come here and get jobs. They take jobs, right? And now what? They're going to vote the Democrat Party, who's like, hey, the hell with America. Let's take care of every other country, but screw America. Fuck that shit. Get them out of here. Let's go to the next clip.
I can't handle this, y'all. This is crazy, yo. I didn't think this was about to affect me like this. But our neighbor's school, y'all know I work at a school. Fuck. Our neighbor in school, I think it's Gratas, I don't know how to say it. It's Gratas or something like that. They were having their graduation. And there's helicopters in the sky. Most of these schools are... Fuck, yo. Most of these schools are predominantly Hispanic. Gratas, I believe elementary, was having their graduation. And all of a sudden, a bunch of parents have to run out because ISIS is there. This is the story that I'm hearing. And, you know, our school goes on lockdown. Our principal, you know, tells us it's a drill, but we know it's not a drill. And, you know, I had to come outside. It's my break. We kind of got like off of a soft lockdown. And, you know, parents had to run out because they don't have papers. And they had to leave their kids because the kids do. What type of shit is this, yo? And then kids are freaking grabbing teachers and crying on their leg because they don't know if they're about to see their parents when they get home. What the fuck is this? And we voted for this shit? 15 people just got picked up on Wilshire at the Home Depot. On Wilshire. Yo. man, oh my God. This is not right. This is not right, yo.
One thing I can tell you about this crybaby liberal, he's very uneducated like the rest of them. One, they do not separate them from their kids. They come arrest them. And most of the time when you see the ICE go in there and grab their kids, they're not grabbing the kids away from the parents. They're grabbing them because they already got the parents, and they're meeting them up with the parents to leave with the parents. That's just how it is. You know, these people, when all the killing we got going on in Chicago and all our inner cities, where are the tears at? Where are these people outraged, right? Where's the outrage? A lot of these people, when you don't see tears because they're being paid by the Democrat Party, that dude's probably an actor. I wouldn't put it past him, pay him to go and make a video, right? Don't put it past them. They're corrupt. They play on emotions. This is what they do. This is what they do, right? And getting illegals the fuck out the country is what Republicans do, right? So you can keep your job. So they don't come and take your job. So they don't come and take the resources that you have in your city that are already not much, right? But what they fight for is emotion. We got to keep them here, keep the bullshit going. Over 10 to 20 million people entered our country in just 4 years. Next 10 years, that's another 10, 20 million. Next 4 years, another 10, 20 million. Next 4 years, another 10, 20 million. How long was this going to be able to continue? What were we going to have? The whole country was going to be looking like Haiti. You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying? Right? Come on, man. Let's get to the next clip.
Jeffries came out and said, the leader of the Democrats in Congress. Take a look.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That in fact is the law. And we're going to make sure that the American people have the transparency necessary to hold people accountable when they're folks who cross the line here in America. That's what's going to happen. And as I mentioned earlier, and I spoke to Congressman Nadler about this, our first priorities are always going to be making sure the person who was on the front line is in the best possible place to move forward. That's the case with LaMonica MacGyver, and it is also the case with Congressman Nadler's brave, young, patriotic staffer. And we've got to address those issues first. That's the human thing to do, while simultaneously, of course, preparing to deal with the broader policy implications, which, as I mentioned, are underway. Thanks.
It is.
And you want to know why they come. Because of clowns like Mr. Jeffries. You're incentivizing them to come with your sanctuary cities and your hotel rooms you're giving out and your money on EBT cards and social security numbers and your work permits. You're incentivizing them to cross and flood our country. But all that shit stopped with great Trump in the house, baby. Get them the fuck out of here. Look, the issue is Democrats incentivize this for power. They don't care about the people where they're from, helping them out. They care about staying in power. And I tell you, if you voters get sympathetic and let these motherfuckers win in 2 years and get back in power, I mean, look, I'm not going to scare you and say the country's going to go to hell. But when you go to a red state, that's ran in the cities are ran by red mayors, you see where your tax dollars going. Maybe 20%, 30% is corrupt. But I see at least 30, 40% of that money being used on bridges, roads, and schools. God damn it. Go to the Democrat ran a mayor and the Democrat governor. Man, everything is shit. Everything is going to hell. You want the whole country to be ran like that? Keep following for this bullshit they pushing. Enough. Hey, if you're new to the channel, you like the hype that I'm pushing, you're on the grind with Political Decode. I'm your host, Johnny Caruso. I'm a little emotional about this reaction because these Democrats, that's why this is called Political Decode. We decode this. Let's get to the next
Attorney Foley joining me right now. Madam, good to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the opportunity.
Thank you for having me.
So, what are you intending to do with the mayor?
I'm not attacking the mayor. I'm attacking the lies that are coming out of the mayor's mouth. And I'm going to defend the officers who are risking their lives every single day to enforce the laws of this country and do their jobs.
All right, I got you, but I mean that's a little, that's a little circumspect here, right? I mean, it's one thing if you're saying to the mayor, "Hey, you can't have a sanctuary city. You're violating federal law. Federal law is supreme. You've created local laws that countermand our laws, get rid of your laws." That's one argument, and I hear you on that. But her being suspicious of a group of people who are generating a lot of allegations about how they're doing their jobs is not just her lying. Right? There have been a lot of allegations about how ICE, where they're going, how they're acting, and what they're not doing in terms of Fourth Amendment normal protocols.
Don't settle for less. Here's what others are doing to fix missing and broken teeth. The company everyone has been raving about is called Nuvia, with thousands of 5-star reviews and...
Well, that's not what she said. And she called them secret police and compared them to neo-Nazis. That is false, it's outrageous, and it is offensive. And I will defend the men and women who are in law enforcement, who are risking their lives every single day. Every department who has undercover officers, including Mayor Wu's. If you are in an undercover capacity and you are going onto the street, you cover your face. These men and women have been videoed trying to do their jobs, executing the laws of the United States, doing their jobs, and their photos are being put on social media. They are being printed and placed on telephone poles where there are going to be demonstrations or any type of mass organization. And that is putting the men and women in jeopardy and their families. We will not tolerate them being doxxed, and we will support them to protect themselves and their families while they are doing their jobs. And there has been no mention of the...
I agree with your concern. I agree with your concern.
No, you don't, Cuomo. No, you don't.
Mr. Cuomo, snake in disguise, pretending to be neutral and don't know what's happening. He always pretends he's neutral and he doesn't know what's happening. He plays stupid. He knows what's going on. These are sanctuary cities, and you're adding fuel to the fire that it's okay that these mayors in these cities have their sanctuary policies because it incentivizes these people to come, right? And the mayor's talking about, well, the protocol. What the fuck you mean, the protocol? The fuck you talking about due process? Democrats will keep talking about the process. Dude, you were here in America illegally. There's your motherfucking process right there, buddy. Right there. Let's get to the next clip, because I don't give two shits about this clown.
It's these federal officers. And they have to wear the mask in order to protect themselves. Again, if we didn't live in a country of woke extremism, then they wouldn't have to do it. But because we do, yeah, they got to protect themselves and their families. They're just doing their jobs. They're doing their jobs. Okay. So, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to witness what is happening in this country right now.
but you can do two things at once. You can protect their identities. You can attack people who, you can find legal avenues to attack people who dox them. And they can follow due process and the transparency that law enforcement does in every branch of every agency across this country when they're entering places and encountering people. You can do both, right?
There's no secret that these operations are going on. Every single police department is notified ahead of an ICE operation being done in their jurisdiction. It is not a secret. And so when they are going to where they said they were going to pick up someone who has either been previously deported from this country and is back, has committed a crime, and has either a warrant or a legal detainer for their arrest, we are notifying the police departments. We are notifying them ahead of time because we don't want any situation in which there is blue on blue or any type of confrontation. And that is a fact, right. And she knows it. And
well, look, I appreciate you.
She has not
go
come
ahead,
out
make your point.
Videos where law enforcement are getting harassed, assaulted, and people are standing in, and activists are being sent to these locations to impede ICE from doing their jobs. Everyone should be against that. These men and women are fully marked. Everyone knows they are law enforcement, and they are just there doing their jobs, and they should not be subjected to this type of harassment and interference.
My concern is, of course, the safety of the officers, but also the sanctity of due process and the laws that are in their charge. That's why I ask about both. But I hear where you're coming from, and you should use the